Good afternoon and welcome to the September edition of Good News Friday. I'm Mark Skorka, president of Opera America, and I'm happy you've joined us today as we share some good news from the field. We want to acknowledge the great work that's happening at companies large and small, among creators and performers, and the steps we're taking to keep opera moving forward. To start, our first bit of good news comes from Opera America. We're delighted to announce the renewal of the Discovery Grants from our Opera Grants for Female Composers program. This is supported by the wonderful Virginia B. Toulmin Foundation. The grants offer up to $15,000 to female composers to help further their work. In addition to the financial support that can help support workshops, recordings, and other developmental activities, recipients get to meet leaders in the field at meetings of our New Works Forum and at our annual conference. Let's welcome our first guest, who was an early recipient of the Discovery Grant program. She went on to complete an opera that has become one of the most performed American operas of recent seasons, As One. Please welcome Laura Kaminsky. Laura, hello. Thank you so much for being with us today. And the fact is, you've received both discovery and commissioning grants from the Opera Grants for Female Composers program. How did these grants contribute to the development of your work?
Well, they made it possible for me to completely change my life, and I'm now pretty much full-time composing opera, which is a great joy, and I'm so grateful to the Toulmin Foundation and to its visionary decision to support women who might not otherwise have had that opportunity. Just last night, we opened our 39th production of As One in Madrid, in a real theater with people. So I'm ecstatic.
The 39th production.
39th.
You know, and it's hard to talk about greater impact than hearing a composer say she changed her life as a result of it. But I'm guessing that in addition to the financial support, to be recognized as a composer, and at the time you were an opera composer with great promise, but to be recognized for your work, for your talent, that must make a big difference.
Well, it is absolutely, an affirmation of something that you're doing all by yourself in your imagination, ideally with your wonderful librettist, thinking that you have a story to tell, and it doesn't exist. And now it exists in a community, and I work with so many phenomenal artists to make my operas come to life, and with so many great administrators and directors and music directors. It's this beautiful sense of a small community of supportive, like-minded people working to an aim together to share opera, to make new stories that are relevant and meaningful and touch people.
Yeah,
it's a joy.
It is that collaborative art form.
It's a joy.
Now, you've served as a grant panelist for us too, and here you were an applicant. You received the award, several of the grants we give out. Your opera's gone on to be one of the most performed of recent seasons. But what's it like to sit on the other side of the table as a panelist?
I love the panel process. Actually, I'd love to do another one again, because what it does is it keeps you as the panelist really inside the field, and you know who the talents are and what people are thinking about and what kinds of stories they want to tell and what kinds of forces are needed to get those stories told. And you hear such amazing music, and you get to read such strong libretti and realize, wow, there's a lot of great people out there who need to be recognized and given opportunities. And, not every piece is equally strong, and not every piece has a life after its development, but it's all part of feeding the field. I mean, Mark, you're a farmer, gardener. You know what it's like. You got to keep throwing more seeds in and putting more compost and fertilizer, and then you get some beautiful flowers as a result.
Yeah, so true. Now, you had an unusual panel experience in that you wound up meeting a librettist you've worked with quite a lot.
That was my first panel. I was invited not because at that point I'd not written an opera, I'd barely written any songs, but I was a presenter producer. So I think I was invited onto the panel as a composer who understands administration and putting things on the stage. And I was just at the beginning stages of thinking about As One, which originally was called The Puzzle and had a different set of artists involved and size and scope of the work. And I didn't really know what I was doing, but I had met one of my librettists, which was Kimberly Reed. And she and I were beginning to craft what we thought this piece would be. And Mark Campbell, one of the most well-known librettists in the country, was on this panel with me. And I took him aside and I said, Mark, I've got this idea and I'm working with Kimberly Reed, who's a filmmaker, and we think we know what we're doing, but we really don't know what we're doing. And could you recommend a librettist or dramaturg to help us get to the next place? And he asked me what the project was about. And I told him, and he said, I really want to do this. And we've done 3 operas together, the 3 of us, since then. And I did a 4th with Kim. So it's, you made a marriage. What can I say?
I don't know that we have any more creative partnerships that were forged around a panel table. So I love that story. The other day when I asked to call you on the phone, you were in the middle of composing. Composing what?
Well, right now I am writing my 5th opera for Dayton Opera with a new librettist for me, Andrea Fellows-Feinberg. And it's a story that is inspired by a historical truth, which is that the Wright brothers had a sister that nobody knows about. And it sort of reveals her story through the lens of a contemporary figure who connects with her story. And that's all I need to say. I was hoping that I'd be at the workshop for the first bit of it this fall, but everything's getting pushed into the future because the premiere has been delayed for a year, as I think so many have, as has my last opera for Santa Fe, which is also supposed to open next month, but no.
Well, we will get to those pieces. And when you're in Dayton, that's where Mr. Toolman was from.
I do know that.
Yeah, we'll catch up on the notes about that. But thanks so much for joining us, and we'll say goodbye for now, but bring you back for our closing game. And just on a light side, congratulations to Laura Cartman, a previous Discovery Grant recipient, and she recently, just last week, won the Emmy Award in the category of Outstanding Music Composition for Why We Hate. It's a documentary on the Discovery Channel. Congratulations to Laura Cartman. And you can always find out more about Opera America's grants, including the upcoming Discovery Grant round at operaamerica.org/grants. Now, we'd like to congratulate a few of our colleagues who have some new positions of leadership in the field. First, to Peggy Kriadai, who is the new General Director and CEO for Virginia Opera. Virginia Opera's gain is Opera Columbus's loss, but we wish Peggy great good luck in her new position. Fort Worth Opera announced that Afton Battle is the company's new General Director. We look forward to getting to know her. And finally, Michigan Opera Theater has appointed Yuval Sharon as its new artistic director. He'll continue to wear 2 hats at LA, the Industry LA, and at Michigan Opera Theater. Congratulations to all of these leaders as they start a new chapter. Now, we also have some really good news about programming, especially programming in the digital space. On-Site Opera's phone opera, To My Distant Love, had 200 performances over the summer and is now going to tour to Australia. This new immersive opera experience invites you to be the distant love for a one-on-one performance featuring a live singer, and you get to choose whether it's a soprano or a baritone, and a pianist with a singer perform for you over the phone. It's a new way to do opera. And then there's a new podcast series that's coming out. It's called Sing Louder. It's hosted by Jake Heggie, and it will explore the challenges of establishing and maintaining a career as a singer with a different artist each week. On the docket are Sasha Cohen, Janae Bridges, Brandon Jovanovich, Ana Maria Martinez, and Ryan Speedo Green. Sing Louder launches October 2nd on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Look forward to hearing those. Now, Tri-Cities Opera is producing Miranda, a steampunk virtual reality experience. The music is by Kamala Sankaram, and the libretto is by Kamala and Rob Reese. It's a collaboration with Luma Projection Arts Festival, Enhance VR, and Opera Omaha. Here to talk to us about this high-tech project is John Rosoni, General Director at Tri-Cities Opera. Welcome, John. Thanks so much for being here today. And you're right in the middle of performances of Miranda.
We are, yeah. We opened last night. It's absolutely thrilling to have this project off the ground. When the pandemic hit, months ago, the founder of the Luma Festival here in Binghamton, which is a large event that attracts about 45 to 50,000 people to Binghamton each year, we are friends and we connected, and we knew that neither of us could really continue in business as usual in the coming months. And so we really wanted to envision a new way to do things that would not only be really cool and exciting, but keep everybody safe. That was a huge part of this.
Wow, what is the opening night of a VR opera like?
It's a little anticlimactic, actually. I don't know, tech is messy sometimes. There's wires everywhere, and we've taped everything down, but we have no audience to clean up for. The tech tables are still in place, and everything for this production is done in all the actors and singers are in motion capture suits with facial recognition. So we don't have fancy costumes or anything. That's all added into the production digitally. And so it is a little bit of a different process, but we did celebrate at the end of opening night with a nice champagne toast and a socially distant festivity, if you will.
Well, it sounds just remarkable. And I have seen a little bit of an excerpt of how the motion of the artist is then completely enhanced through technology on what is the audience sees.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. We were working with a wonderful programmer from Enhanced VR here in Binghamton. And then Alison Moritz, the director for the project, also adapted Kamala Shankaram's score of Miranda from a 75-minute piece down to a 20-minute piece for this exploration. Really, we've been able to see... I literally just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. Mark, will you?
No, that's probably okay.
I'm sorry.
It'll come back. Take it from me. I do that frequently.
We're pretty exhausted. It's been a lot of late nights. This tech is amazing and it's challenging.
Oh my God, yes.
Like a lot of 4:30 in the morning kind of nights.
So John, let me ask you, John, what does the audience actually experience and how do they access the performance?
Absolutely. So there are three ways to access the performance. There is the YouTube live stream, which is available at www.mirandarealtime.com. And then we have interactive versions of this. One is a virtual reality app that works for the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive. And so we offer a download of essentially a video game app that basically you click into, you enter your access code, and you enter the production that way into a waiting room. Then when we're ready to go, you just kind of get launched into the show. And then the third way is that VR app is also available just for desktop if you don't have a headset. So you can download it and sort of click and interact and look around in the screen, similar to VR, but not quite as immersive.
Wow. Now, you've told me that you're getting a lot of coverage for this in the media. Who's covering the project?
We've seen, we just had an article in Forbes, which for little TCO, that's wild. We sent laptops and headsets to Heidi Wallison, and also the New York Times requested a laptop and a headset. So we were going to have them view. And, for me, last night was absolutely thrilling. And there were some glitches, but there's really, when we're utilizing this kind of technology, we can't really test all the things. And for me, this is really about inspiring creativity around what opera can be. So for me, I'm not interested in perfect, actually, ever. I'm really interested in process and learning. And I really believe that through our partnership with Opera Omaha and other companies, that this project will have another life and will continue onward. And will have revolutionized some of the thinking about our industry along the way.
It sounds really exciting. Congratulations. Stay with us back in the waiting room, and we'll pull you out for the game in just a couple of minutes. And again, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
The newly formed Decameron Opera Coalition is comprised of 9 US-based companies, and they will premiere Tale from a Safe Distance Now, digital episodes will be released weekly, featuring multiple stories from participating companies, and they're all based on Boccaccio's The Decameron as seen through the lens of the current pandemic. Now, to talk about this collaboration, I know the energy behind it has been Maria Sensi Sellner, Artistic and General Director of Resonance Works in Pittsburgh, and Eiki Isomura, who's the Artistic and General Director of Opera in the Heights. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Mark. Glad to
And
be
now,
with
as I
you.
understand it, the original Decameron, as I know, is a set of stories told by different people who were keeping each other company while they were sheltering from the plague. The resonance is quite striking. But Maria, whose idea was it? Who made the first call to whom?
Well, it's very interesting. I was working with the composer librettist team of Peter Hilliard and Matt Barresi, who just had their latest opera, The Last American Hammer, just had its second production at Pittsburgh Opera. And we were working on something that has had to be postponed. And I had a conversation with them and I said, well, what do you think? This was back in March. What do you think opera will look like in 6 months? And I got an email the next day and said, can you get on a Zoom call? We have an idea. And that's how this started. The three of us had a conversation. I loved the idea that tapping into Boccaccio's Decameron gave it a timeless quality, but it was also so incredibly timely, and that we could create something that that could outlast this time. It would be of this time, but could outlast this time.
Yeah.
And then we started looking for partners. Sarah Lawrence of Lyric Opera of the North and Eiki and all the others you mentioned got on board, and here we are.
So how did you go about putting together the coalition? Because this happened before there or after there was a last meeting or conference, a New Works Forum. So how did you go about putting together this cluster of 9 of our indie opera companies?
Well, as I said, it started with me and Peter and Matt, and they had worked with Sarah in Duluth before, and also Bob Wood of Urban Arias. And from there, we kind of knew the kind of vibe we were going for with the project. What's interesting about it is each company has their own chapter that they've commissioned. So each one has their own composer librettist team. And we talked a lot about who would be great partners for this.
Yeah.
And it really built sort of organically.
And I wanted to turn to Eiki because I understand that everyone comes up with their own element of the project. So when you heard about the project, what appealed to you?
I think what was most exciting to me about the opportunity was to learn, sort of like what John Rosoni was saying, that this is uncharted territory for all of us. We don't know how opera can proceed, especially back in the summer months. We were all taking it one moment at a time, and the thought of working together with other creative minds to create something that could only have come from this time, something where our inability to assemble as a group might actually act as sort of the disruptive sort of vehicle for creativity was very exciting.
And what is your company contributing in terms of an episode?
Well, we are producing a 7-minute, what feels like a concert aria. It's based off of one of the Decameron stories, Day 8, Story 7. We each have taken our inspiration from something from the Decameron and themes therein. I actually reached out to Donia Gerard, who is a Discovery Grant winner from 2019, whom I also happen to know from grad school. I know Maria from back in our early sort of conducting baby days, and it's great to reunite and work on something that for I think most of us is new territory, music videos or short films, and being able to compare notes every step of the way and feel that we are part of something very large was really, really great.
Is there an opening night on the calendar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you've mentioned, it will be released in 4 episodes. Each episode will have multiple chapters, and then there's a wraparound story of 10 people in quarantine in the pandemic. Ours is set in a Zoom call. It's a Zoom call happy hour reunion, and that wraparound story is written by Peter and Matt. And we open on October 9. The episodes will be available for till the end of the year, but we have 4 opening nights: October 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th.
Wow.
And
It
Mark,
sounds-
just like you are our host for this Zoom call, our call will have a host in none other than Luca Pizzaroni, who will be the person who in our story somehow got to know all of these participating members of each of these stories at a crazy night in Florence, and they're sort of having a reunion online and telling stories for one another to perhaps combat boredom. In the midst of their quarantine.
That is just fantastic. How wonderful. Well, congratulations. And we love seeing companies work together like this. You are epitomizing that collaborative spirit that is part of opera. And I just think it's fabulous. I can't wait to see it. Thank you. Now, we're going to bring back Laura and John so we can play our Friday afternoon opera trivia game. And it's presidential campaign season. So in that spirit, we want to see what you know about the intersection of presidents and songs. In each of the 4 questions that I have for you, 2 of the answers are correct and 1 is wrong. I'm going to ask you to identify which one is wrong. So we're going to think about this in the negative. So now anyone who's on YouTube and you're watching us on YouTube, you can answer in the chat. We'll see who gets all the answers right. There are 4 questions. So here we go. And I know that our special guests have their cards ready with A, B, or C written on them. So question 1, the campaign songs played a big role in the 1840, and I underscore 1840, it's not a hint, 1840 presidential election. 2 of these were actually the official songs of the candidates. Which one wasn't an official song? Alexander Kaufman Ross's Tippecanoe and Tyler Too for the Whig Party nominee William Henry Harrison, Scott Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag for the Liberty Party nominee James G. Birney, or letter C, the traditional Rockabye Baby for Democratic Party incumbent Martin Van Buren. Which one was not the official song? You have to hold up a letter. B, 2 C's, 3 C's. The answer is B. Laura Kaminsky gets it. James Birney was a prominent abolitionist, so embracing the Black composer Scott Joplin would have suited his campaign. But Scott Joplin, whom we know from his 1911 opera Tremonisha, wasn't born until 1868. So 1840, not possible, but the other 2, in fact, were the official songs. Keep in mind, we don't keep score, so it doesn't matter whether you get them right or wrong. Question number 2. Many presidents have gone to the opera. The George W. Bushes were attendees at Houston Grand Opera. I attended a recital of Birgit Nilsson at the Kennedy Center when Jimmy Carter was in the presidential box. And I've been to the Met with the Clintons right across the way. Now, Abraham Lincoln attended opera more than 30 times during his presidency, and his favorite opera was Norma. But which of these following isn't true? A, Lincoln's first opera was the American premiere of Verdi's Masked Ball in 1861. Lincoln didn't care for Wagner and walked out of a performance of Tannhauser in 1862. Or C, Lincoln had a weakness for Gounod's Faust and saw it 4 times during his presidency, which is not true. Hold up your letters. We need theme song. B, C, B, B. It is B. Lincoln did like Wagner. And we just wish he had walked out of other performances before they were over. Yes, and he sometimes took a lot of grief for going to the opera as frequently as he did. But he said to those people that given the stress of the Civil War and his job, he just needed the release of going to an opera. Question number 3. When we think of operas about presidents, John Adams and Alice Goodman's Nixon in China and David T. Little and Royce Vavrick's JFK come to mind immediately. But many other presidents have been portrayed in main stage American operas. Which president has not been? A, John Quincy Adams, B, Chester Arthur, or C, Franklin Roosevelt? Which president has not been in an opera? Two A's and a C. The correct answer is C. FDR has not appeared in an opera at least to our knowledge. He was in Annie, though. Now, John Quincy Adams was in The Mother of Us All, with Virgil Thompson and Gertrude Stein, and Chester Arthur is mentioned in The Ballad of Baby Doe by Douglas Moore and John Latouche. So our fourth question. Performances have become a staple of each presidential inauguration, and they've included prominent opera singers. Two of these artists performed on the steps of the Capitol. Which didn't? In 1905, Enrico Caruso sang Vesti la Juba for Theodore Roosevelt. In 1957, Marian Anderson sang The Star-Spangled Banner for Dwight Eisenhower. And in 1985, Jesse Norman sang Simple Gifts for Ronald Reagan. Which did not happen? We have a C, an A, an A, and a C. It's actually Enrico Caruso, A. Now, he did not sing for Teddy Roosevelt, but he did sing Carmen at the San Francisco Opera the night of the Great Earthquake in 1906. And when he ran out of his hotel, he carried with him a picture of Theodore Roosevelt. So I think we can grandparent him in and say that yes, he counts. Well, we've finished with our quiz. I think you are all winners, and I'm absolutely delighted to congratulate you and to thank you so much for being with us. Now, as I try to find my cursor here, I know that we are going to encourage everyone to vote. It is a civic duty, and in the spirit of the presidential quiz that we've had today, we want to make sure that everybody votes in this upcoming election. It really is a civic duty, and I hope everyone will do it. You can please go to the Opera America website or to go to, to voter.com, and you can request a ballot. Go to it's go.operaamerica.org/vote in order to make sure you either register to vote or get a ballot if you need one. But please remember that the privileges we have as Americans come with a civic obligation to vote. Please do so. And then to close out today, there's been a musical performance we want to bring your attention to, and we encourage you after the show is over today to please go to this link and to watch it. If we can call up that slide, please, we'll go to that URL. The next slide, please. Got it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've lost my cursor. It doesn't go any further down on my screen. You know, I'm just very, very happy that you were with us today, and we look forward to seeing you at the next Good News Friday. In the meantime, we have lots of Zoom calls, lots of webinars, lots of content coming up, but please make sure that you can be with us again for our Good News Friday at the end of October. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.